have a regular life coach here, Autry Dakwafer. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And then also Joanne Ellis is a lawyer with FIBA Amri here and Associates. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can I call you Joanne?
Yes.
Yeah, you know. In our society, the balance is always lawyer. So lawyer Joanne Ellis has joined us. But let me tease your mind. In relationship, when it comes to the issue about trust, what usually is the thing that you do to ensure that trust becomes a key watch principle or virtue?
Okay, so yes, once again, morning to our viewers. So I say that every relationship that begins with trust, to enter in the relationship with trust or love, it's agreement first. The basis of every relationship is agreement. Then along the line, trust and love will grow. But if you go straight ahead looking for trust, wanting love, then you may end up getting broken heart.
I see. But at the end of the day, loyalists, there are key issues if you want to put yourself up for, say, trusting, for which you have to make decisions on. And then there are periods where that trust leads to you making utterances that lead to some level of promise. And at what point in time, let's say in a normal relationship, that a promise that is made based on trust becomes problematic when it is breached?
Okay. So in the legal setting, trust is a very important.
It is?
It is.
Okay.
Trust is really important. It's an important element in every relationship, even with lawyer-client relationships and also personal relationships. We call that fiduciary if it involves, let's say, a lawyer and a client. In personal settings and personal relationships, trust plays an important role because a person can have a cause of action against you when you breach certain promises. For instance, you asked about this in a relationship, regular relationship. We have something we call breach of promise to marry, for instance. Of course, there are some conditions you have to meet to be able to have
breach
that cause of promise to marry.
Okay.
It's one of such things. So that you don't take it for granted you are dating a person and you keep making promises. So I'll marry you. Of course, the verbal ones made casually do not carry any effect. But once you take certain steps, let's say making it conditional, bringing in a condition or holding it yourself all out, going ahead like in anticipation of a marriage, etc., then the person can hold you liable for breach of promise to marry.
I see.
So that you cannot just take it for granted and go about promising, dating people, wasting their time and say, I'll marry you, I'll marry you. They have...
Well, so the reason why I preface this with the initial questions was for us to premise our conversation very well. And Jennifer Minerva, one of our loyal viewers, drew attention to the story. It's also online as well. And the story goes by a Nigerian woman who apparently is reported now crying out after she learned that her ex-husband married her lawyer. So the lawyer was contracted to make sure that she interceded in the settlement by way of the divorce. So the lawyer had handled the lady's divorce case. Right. Now, 2 weeks after handling their divorce process, the lady who went to contract the lawyer, noticed that the lawyer had tied a knot with her husband or former husband, ex-husband or estranged husband. Now, if you look at the content of the story and even the reactions thereof, you could clearly feel that she feels betrayed. Because on one hand, there's a contractual relationship with a lawyer. Of course, there's some client relationship that has been developed, but also a certain level of closeness, so trust as well. Now, on the other side, also there's a conflict of interest situation. But let's talk about the trust issue, because the husband too, of course, I'm divorcing you, but I'm feeling that you and I, we're on a certain basis of this agreement we're having to divorce. So that trust has been breached. In this instance, who would you best advise, and what would be the advice?
Yes, so I would choose to advise the woman.
First?
Yes.
Okay.
This is because anytime there is regular and constant attraction, which is premised on the fact that we see ourselves all the time, there is a tendency that we begin to fall in love psychologically. And so when there is a problem in our relationships, there are the times that we feel we must let other people know our problems. Now, the people we report our problems to are sometimes the ones that break the relationships, depending on whichever ways they decide to go. In this case, you tell your story or your matter to a lawyer with the view that the lawyer must do A or B for you. Now, with the constant and regular seeing or sight of the woman or the man, there is a tendency of, a gradual and psychological growth of love or affection. And so when there is that kind of thing, you can't blame anybody, because love is such that where it finds a psychological ground or soil, it grows, and nobody can stop that.
Where it finds a psychological ground or soil,
it grows.
It fetters.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so that could have been the problem. And so with this case, there's the only rule is that the man doesn't love you like you thought. And that's why I say that anything that lets people come together is not love, is not trust, is affection, which is caused by attraction. And so in this case, the lawyer might have seen one or two things on the lady that attracts him, or vice versa. And so that could have allowed the sort of relationship between him and the lady.
The lawyer is a woman, right?
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying between him and the lawyer has grown more than the love between him and the wife.
Yes.
And so in this case, the wife should know that because she felt she was loved, which has been betrayed now, she must know that there was no love in the first instance. There was no love.
Yes.
And what it is that once the man has been able to tell from the action, she must tell herself that, yes, she has been betrayed in the first place. Secondly, she must also accept the fact that there has been the choice that she made. She made the choice by, going into that relationship with the man who has, sometimes when you tell ladies that you love them, whilst you tell them you love them, your mind is also building another tendency of strength to tell another woman the same things that you told this woman that she believed you. And so men have that tendency of telling a lot of ladies the same thing to win their love. And in this case, you can't say that the man has broken your trust, because it is some kind of expectations that you wanted that could not be met.
So you're saying that you were on your way out, and I also interacted with somebody.
Exactly.
And something happened.
And that is what should happen. And so sometimes we create the environment for certain things to grow. And then when we are affected, we play the victim by calling betrayal, or, telling people that we have our trust has been broken. But in this case, I don't see any trust being broken here. It is just that the woman didn't play her cards well, and this has caused her relationship.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any problem with it. I mean, that's on a personal basis.
Yes.
So, I mean, the lawyer is a woman in the first place, a person.
Yes.
And then her profession is also, because she's finished her business, I'm thinking. But usually what goes on if, let's say, I am engaging you as a lawyer to take me through my divorce proceedings?
Okay. So, the thing is, before a client approaches a lawyer to talk about dissolution, which is the divorce.
Okay, dissolution.
Yes, what it is the person has already made up their mind to exit the marriage. Let's bear in mind that lawyers are not counselors or priests or, missionaries to come and intervene and then offer services, go back, do this. It has implications. So once a client approaches you with the interest to dissolve a marriage, a fiduciary duty is established at that moment. Your duty is to see the client through the divorce proceedings right to the end. Now, with this scenario, this case, I heard about bits and pieces, except online, of it. Yeah. Yes, what it is the lawyer in question, if I want to believe, got married or got into the relationship with the ex-husband after the divorce proceedings had ended. If
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
They said they married 2 weeks after. I think, yeah.
2 weeks. I had weeks after.
Weeks after.
So,
Okay.
yes, as I said, there's always a fiduciary relationship between lawyers and their clients. However, like other professional bodies, lawyers are guided by our code of ethics. We have our legal rules, our ethics, which is the LI 2423. Now, Rule 20 of this LI talks about conflict of interest that regulates our relationship with our clients. Under sub-rule 10 of this Rule 20 of the LI, lawyers are not allowed or cannot engage in amorous relationships with their clients during their representation of the lawyer. If along the line or during your engagement with the client, you realize you have generated an interest in the client or even the client of the opposing lawyer, which in this case would be the ex-husband, you need to cease representing your client. Okay. You need to stay back. You cannot.
When you say interest,
yes,
can interest be interpreted in many ways beyond just essential interest? Could it be maybe some business interest or some other interest?
Yes, business interest will mean there will be a conflict of interest.
Okay. Interest is interest.
Interest is interest.
Okay.
But with this particular scenario, I'm putting it as amorous relationship. So amorous interest. It could be sexual interest or
whatever.
The desire to get to know the person more. At that point, then there is a conflict of interest. So you need to cease representing your client in that matter. But so what the rule is not against you engaging in a relationship with an ex-client or client of the opposing lawyer after the representation. Yeah. But the problem is during the representation. In the court, that would be a breach of the ethics, which has serious implications.
Okay.
So that is what...
I'll come to you on a question. How do you establish that? But I think stemming from what she said, yes, you know, the relationship that we all undertake, sometimes you do it, there's a public display of affection, yes, PDA.
Yes.
Some too, you will not see it. So how do you establish that? I mean, trying to say that while you were representing me, you were engaging in a relationship with the person I wanted you to, is it dissolute the marriage?
Dissolve.
Or dissolve.
Okay, so Auntie Ellis is talking from a legal background.
Yes, we finished with the legal.
But there is no constitution about love that states that if I am a professional and I'm dealing with you, I should not have that intimate affection for you. And so love in itself has no boundaries. That is why most time we say love is blind. It is not love that is blind. It is the human being that closes the eye that should see the mistakes in the person whom we want to be with. We do not see those things because of the love. And so that may have been the problem between the lawyer and the client. Yes, profession is here, ethics are here, but love is growing, and I cannot say because of the ethics, I won't do that. So there's nothing, you know, when it has to do with love, nothing becomes a barrier. That is why you can have a pastor dating a church member and people frown, and I don't understand. You can have a boss dating a subordinate and people frown, and I get worried.
You're saying ideally there should not be any problem.
There is no boundary to love. Once they agree to be together, let them explore.
Young Konkwan.
Exactly. And so when you stop it, they would find every other means to come back together. And that is what love does. When you stop love, like water, if you stop the waterway, it finds another way to flow. That is how love is. And so we must understand the love language so that we may not be expectant too much that we may have our trust broken.
Yeah.
And in the instance of trust, when we get there, we'll see that there's nothing like trust in a relationship.
We have to open the phone lines on this one. But before we do that, though, now, typically, do you think by your experiences as a lawyer, people tend to cocoon you or kind of cage you in as if you're not human or you're supposed to behave in a certain way. And how does that affect personal lives of lawyers? Okay. Not in terms of their work, but in terms of the perception.
Yes. So you are right. People expect so much from lawyers, but you can't blame them, because at the end of the day, the role lawyers play in the lives of clients and then even society as a whole. You have lawyers who would go on to become judges even. Okay. You understand? So right from the onset, once again, like I said, we have a code of ethics. And if you belong to a professional body or society that has a code of ethics, your personal views or matter do not matter. They are not important. You need to adhere or abide by the rules or the ethics of your profession. Because once again, lawyer, client, and like a medical doctor and a patient, it's purely fiduciary. You understand? It's based on trust. Once that is broken, how are you even going to perform your work or do your duty or ensure justice? So the ethics surrounding the legal profession is not just for the fun of it or just to curtail you or cocoon you, but also to enable lawyers to really give out what they are supposed to do. We are custodians of justice, if you can say, the legal fraternity. So if trust is broken or trust is not there, then
what else?
What else is there?
Because then it makes something gets missing.
Exactly.
In the,
so
in the trust that people have for you.
To add to what the life coach said, or to say something, we are not saying your feelings should be curtailed. Okay. You are a human being, as he said. Love knows no bounds. You can find love at many different odd places, but you need to have your self-control and adhere or abide by the ethics. You cannot engage in amorous relationship whilst you are representing a client or even a client of the opposing lawyer. Okay. And there's a reason for that. So you need to abide by it. So society expects a lot from us, but at times you go to parties, you want to feel free and take off your shoes and jump all over the place, but you cannot. You need to, because, hey, we're a lawyer. Yeah. And then, but then again, it boils down to the trust. Can this person really handle my issue? Looking at the way she's all over the place. Because it's a moral thing as well. For us, moral integrity, it's encompassing to make you a good lawyer and be good standing at the bar.
And also of service to the society. Yes. I think that's very critical in this conversation. Now, the next point then will be, if the narration, and according to what the story, as we saw, published online and went viral, is that they got married weeks after. I'm thinking a relationship can start today and tomorrow I can get married, right? Yes. Now, what are the signs that you get to notice that makes you endear yourself or somebody endears him or herself to you, usually? And in this instant case, you could find that certainly the lawyer, a woman, found something very truthful about the man.
Yes, so...
Because they were handling a divorce.
Yes. And so you realize that you find a very handsome man following, a 60-40 lady. And when I say 60-40, a lady who is not, that's wow. And you ask yourself, how come? So love is something that, like I said, when it has the foundation, when it has the fertile soil, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need you to be, ethical. It doesn't need you to be spiritual. All it needs is to be true. And so at this time, when you realize that I'm dealing with an issue that has to do with professionalism and ethics, and then love is pushing, all you will do is that, Charlie, put the ethics somewhere, find your love, and enjoy yourself. And so in this case, I'm still pushing that the lawyer in this case did the right thing by, doing what had to be done by helping the client to go through the divorce process. And then I realized that after your divorce process, I am here. I see certain things in you that your former partner didn't see. Yes. I am seeing that. If your partner was saying you were ABC, because I could perceive that going through the divorce processes, the lawyer may have heard or seen or read certain things that the husband had said about the wife. And, both ways. And so the lawyer may be reading, well, you said this about your wife, and I'm not seeing that. You said that about your wife, and I have not seen it. And I'm happy to be with this lady. And so if at that point, that is where the Bible says that for this reason, and the reason is that where you have agreed and you have your personal conviction that at this point in my life, I can't do it all by myself, and I need this woman to join me, that is when you decide. And so the decision for the lawyer to do what he did is the excellent way to find a partner for your life. And whatever society says is secondary matter, because it has to do with you and your feelings, and you feel that this is the exact place that I can have. So
what you're saying is that we should put the profession aside, because she has finished her contract.
Exactly.
And this one,
yes,
relationship, marriage.
Yes. So when you finish the job, there is the tendency to enjoy.
Yes.
Yes. So
when you finish the job, there's the tendency to enjoy.
So enjoy when the time is right, and this is the time that I feel the lawyer got it.
Okay. So my producer is saying we can activate the phone lines for 2 minutes. So please, let's activate the phone. So what do you make of this scenario? So now, at the end of the day, we know that in a situation of divorce, lawyers become very critical. So let's leave the relationship issue aside. The divorce and all that, are you people expensive?
I don't think we are.
Okay.
If you compare it to the legal fees in other countries, I think we are not too expensive. And we also have legal aid. If you can't afford a private legal practitioner, you can go to legal aid and they will assist. But I don't think we are expensive.
All right. So we have Francis from Tema. Francis, any question for the two of them? We have distinguished lawyer here, and then also distinguished life coach.
Very, very good morning to you and the entire crew of the New Day.
Thank you very much. What's your question? Yes, please speak to us directly. Don't watch your TV or listen to us on TV, okay? All right. So dropped. All right. So you were saying something?
Lawyer was.
Yeah, I was talking about our services not being expensive.
Okay.
If you compare that to the legal fees of other countries, both in the Western world and other African countries.
You're affordable.
I think we are affordable.
Would you say that if you're going through any divorce settlement, you should by all means use a lawyer?
Oh, yes, I would advise. We've had instances where people represented themselves, and then they've had to come back to us for appeals or for chasing other reliefs for them, which they could have had at the time of the divorce if they had engaged the services of a lawyer. So I would encourage people to, especially the women, to engage services of a lawyer in divorce proceedings.
Hello.
Hello. Please, what's your name?
My name is Adnan.
Adnan, please, your question or your contribution.
Yes, I'm the lawyer. The lawyer seems to be saying something. At the end of the day, I'm talking about the lawyer there. Yes, at the end of the day, she's saying that trust matters a lot. So you as a lawyer, if you are able to do this, behind the scene, people will start to think that, don't you know that lawyer? She was the one who took that woman's husband and all of that. That credibility will be dwindling, it will be down to zero. That's what I'm talking about. Upon all these feelings, it's a matter of choice. You choose to do this, you choose to do that. You cannot say you are a doctor and you say you don't want to see blood. You see, if you don't want to see blood and you got into being a doctor, definitely you will see blood one way or the other. So it's a matter of choice, choosing to say that, okay, this is what I want to do, and these are the codes of ethics that you need to abide by.
Okay, but you are not saying that the marriage of the lawyer to the former client is bad, right?
It's bad. That's what I'm saying. It's bad because at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that what I'm saying that if you as a lawyer you are able to take somebody's husband this way, indirectly telling you your character, the kind of person you are.
No, please. She didn't take somebody's husband. Or they are divorced.
Yeah, they are divorced. And I'm saying that the lawyer that is supposed to facilitate the process is now married to the to what's the name? The divorcee's husband, right?
Adnan, thank you very much. They have divorced. She facilitated the process and ended it well. So it's quite interesting, right?
Yes. So if you want to follow society, this is where we get to.
Yes.
And so I keep telling people that relationships are personal. It's a personal conviction. Forget about what the society will say.
Yeah.
Once you are ready, push it. And whether you are a doctor or a lawyer or a pastor or whatever, on the other side, you have your feelings.
Yes.
And those feelings are what you feel. And so if it's what you feel is right for you, go ahead and don't listen to the society.
Well, certainly.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Yes, once again, as much as it's a personal feeling, etc., as I said, it has to matter when you're a professional because you face repercussions.
Okay.
For instance, with the legal profession, with this scenario, for instance, sometimes you need all the facts to determine. But if you are able to prove or there's evidence that the relationship began or started after your representation, there's no problem with it. For legal professions, the ethics code doesn't have any problem with you. But if you started the relationship during your representation, that is where the problem is. And the implication or the repercussion is you face the General Legal Counsel. This can lead to either your disbarment or a suspension of your bar license.
But not this marriage.
Yes.
This one, the marriage has ended.
Yes, so if it has ended, there's
support
no
the lawyer.
problem.
Well,
if the marriage has ended, there's no problem.
So legal practitioner lawyer Joanne Ellis helping us there. What was the name of your chambers?
Efiba Mihier and Associates.
Efiba Mihier and Associates. And then also lawyer Oshira Farid right here.
Wow.
Lawyer. That's
Cool.
So he's a life coach. And thank you for joining the two of you. I've enjoyed the conversation. Very enlightening and educative. I think that's the most important thing while we try to intersperse this with all the invectives and the innuendos. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.